Hello, internet. How we doing? Everybody black-pilled tonight? Everybody is freaking out today. We got trouble at the border, don't we? Well, we'll get into it. How is everyone? Wally World, B Sizzo, Casey Martin. Nice to see you guys. Scarlett's here. I don't know what she's doing. She wants to say hi, though, I think. Do you want to say hi or what? Is she gonna be weird? Are you gonna say hi tonight? Or are you just gonna paw me? Come say hi. Okay. All right. All right. How's everybody? Scarlett says hi. V1800. Nice to see you. Okay. All right. Can you go lay down? You know the drill. Lay down. I got to see a Great Dane yesterday again. Come on, lay down. Scarlett. You lay down. Scarlett. Lay down right now. Scarlett. I apologize, folks. I didn't walk her today. You lay down. Now. Good girl. All right. Well, is everybody black-pilled this evening? We've got a Biden Texas standoff, apparently. And there she goes. See, all that effort. She just gets right up. What a terrible, terrible dog on her. All right. B says, Wally World, B1800, Casey Martin. Nice to see you guys. So it looks like Biden told him to back down by tomorrow, or else. I don't know what the or else is going to be. We'll get into it. We'll get into the back and forth. And yeah, before we do, if you guys could tap that like button, it's always helpful. Leave a comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I do have a fundraiser going. It's linked in my Twitter bio. If you guys want to support the show, support what I'm doing, it's much appreciated. Can't really do it without you guys. And you guys have been very supportive so far. And I much thank all of you for allowing me to fight against these psychopaths in California. Sorry, distracted by my dog. I don't know what she's doing. Alrighty, well, let's get into some stuff. Let's see. I'm trying not to be black-pilled myself, you guys, because, well, I'll hold off on my theory until a little bit later. Let's get into Greg Abbott's statement, shall we? So, all right. Well, let me get into the view I like here. You guys don't need to read this along with me, so I'm going to make my head bigger. Okay. Hope you guys don't mind. Alrighty. Yeah. That's the view I prefer. Okay, let's read. What is Mr. Abbott's statement here? I read this last night. I like the way he worded it, but people are calling him a World Economic Forum puppet and all sorts of stuff. I don't know, guys. Let's just read his statement. The federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. The executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce the federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books right now. President Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. The result has been the result that he has smashed records for illegal immigrants. Despite having been put on notice in a series of letters, one of which I delivered to him by hand, President Biden has ignored Texas's demand that he perform his constitutional duties. President Biden has violated his oath to faithfully execute the immigration laws enacted by Congress instead of protecting immigrants for the federal crime of illegal entry. Instead of prosecuting immigrants for the federal crime of illegal entry. President Biden has sent his lawyers into federal courts to sue Texas for taking actions to secure the border. President Biden has instructed his agencies to ignore federal statutes. The text is really small here. The mandate the detention of illegal immigrants. The effect is to illegally allow them in mass parolee into the United States. Allow them to mass parole into the United States. I believe he's saying make them citizens, essentially. And that's what I was talking about the DACA stuff earlier. I don't even remember what it stands for. The DACA stuff is like people that were brought here when they were kids illegally, illegal immigrants that were brought here when they're like 2 or 3. So their parents brought them over the border when they're babies and, now they're in their mid-20s or whatever. Well, those people all got like social security numbers and work visas, but they're still technically illegal, but they have social security numbers. They can get jobs and stuff like just like everybody else. And that anyway, well, they could be cops now. That in California, DACA kids could be cops. I'm pretty sure that's going to get expanded to where just if you're an illegal immigrant, you can get a job as a cop. Anyway, I'll keep going. By wasting taxpayer dollars to tear open Texas's border security infrastructure, President Biden has enticed illegal immigrants away from 28 legal entry points along the state's southern border, bridges where nobody drowns, and into dangerous waters of the Rio Grande. That's the thing, too. He's told the entire world that the southern border is open as long as you come here illegally and do it dangerously. Yeah. And then the Biden regime tries to blame Texas for people that drown in the river. It's like the ultimate gaslighting. The Krasensteins are doing that. The Krasensteins are trying to spin this as like Republicans are causing the border problem. Texas is the real problem. The little propagandists drive me crazy. Under President Biden's Biden's lawless border policies, more than 6 million illegal immigrants have crossed our southern border in just 3 years. A lot of people. So somebody was saying today that it's not 11 million illegal immigrants that have come into California or come into the United States. It's 22 million. 22 million. That's unfathomable. I don't know if it's true. That is more than the population of 33 different states in this country. This illegal refusal to protect the United States has inflicted unprecedented harm on the people all across the United States. James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and the other visionaries who wrote the U.S. Constitution foresaw that states should not be left to the mercy of the lawless president who does nothing to stop external threats like the cartels smuggling millions of illegal immigrants across the border. That is why the framers include both Article 5, Section 4, which promises the federal government shall protect each state against invasion. It explicitly states, shall protect each state against invasion. In Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, which acknowledges the state's sovereign interest in protecting their borders. Arizona v. United States. Funny. The failure of the Biden administration to fully, I really think everybody should call it the regime and not administration, just for tactical reasons. Tactful reasons? I don't know. Sorry. The failure of the Biden regime to fulfill the duties imposed by Article 5, Section 4 has triggered Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, which reserves the state's right to self-defense for the reasons I have already declared an invasion under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3. To invoke Texas's constitutional authority to defend and protect itself, the authority is the supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. The Texas National Guard, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and other Texas personnel are acting on that authority, as well as state law to secure the Texas border. All right, so Greg Abbott's telling Biden to shove it. That's what he's saying. So, all right, Goat Cheese, nice to see you. CC Pino, what's going on? Mike DeWitt. My X feed doesn't seem to be working. Huh. Wally World, yeah, Tucker said 22 million. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was Tucker. Are DACAs the dreamers? I don't know. I think so. Yeah, I think so. You know, like when I was in high school, this was a big thing. I remember being in a sociology class when I was in high school. Actually, let me check my Twitter. It's Mike DeWitt saying my Twitter feed isn't working. Let's see here. Am I suspended? Actually, yeah. If you guys are watching over on X, why don't you leave a comment so I know it's working? Well, it appears to be working. Appears to be live over there. Yeah, I'm not sure, Mike, but thanks for letting me know. I appear to be all right, though. Seems okay on my end. All right, folks, let's keep going here. Let's see. So, say Greg Abbott was also on, he was over on Fox and Friends, I believe. So, yeah, let's go check that out. So here's Greg Abbott talking over on Fox and Friends. Well, not Fox and Friends, sorry. I don't know what show this is. Two of the corporate press talking heads. Who cares? I don't care what their names are. It's Fox News.
Texas is doing is just very simple. And that is because the Biden administration has really, truly abdicated its responsibility to secure the border and enforce the laws. Texas, very simply, is securing the border. And so we put up the razor wire that you were talking about, Bill, and we put up all these barricades that actually have denied illegal entry. And as you pointed out also on that screen, that there are criminals coming across our border. Texas has a right as a state to stop criminals from coming into our state, to make arrests of those criminals. And we have National Guard as well as Texas Department of Public Safety officers who are there to make those arrests and to deny illegal entry. And Joe Biden actually does have an option here. Joe Biden's option is to enforce the laws of the United States and stop this illegal entry. Texas is doing.
So you know who's equally responsible for all of this? I posted it earlier. Is all the mayors and governors that started saying things like sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. That isn't the thing. That sanctuary city and sanctuary state, that isn't a thing. What are you doing at that point? If you're saying we're a sanctuary city, sanctuary from what? Sanctuary from the federal government is what you're saying. Sanctuary from federal laws, federal immigration laws. Okay, well, are you seceding from the union at that point? Because that's not part of the deal. You don't get to selectively choose what rules you follow. I'm not a statist. I don't want to be a statist, even though, I guess technically I do. I'm trying to be a politician. I want the government as least involved in our lives as possible, but I am not an open borders person at all. And if we all have this agreement that the border, our southern border, that's a federal thing, that's up to the federal government to take care of. If we're going to have a federal government, that really is one of the only responsibilities that I want them to take care of. Protect the border. And if they, what's funny is the sanctuary cities people and the sanctuary states people and the federal government are now in line with one another. It's really insane. It doesn't make any sense what's happening. But in theory, the federal government's supposed to be the ones that are like, hey, sanctuary cities, you can't do that because, you're part of the United States. And we have this constitution that says you can't, isn't this harboring fugitives? That seems like what it is to me. So sanctuary cities, they're not a thing. They don't exist. And now we're giving illegal immigrants health care. They get social security numbers. They get tax IDs. They can legally work here. I don't need to tell you California's skilled tradesmen. Go on a job site. How many people, if all of a sudden we said you can't legally people that aren't legally allowed to be here can't be on the job site anymore, how many people would be taken off the job site? And a lot of people will say, well, yeah, things will go under. They contribute to taxes and everything else. It creates like a quasi black market, but they're legally allowed to work at the same time type deal. I guess my argument here would be either all or nothing. Have a border, have border policy, or have none of it. Do the completely open borders thing. Fine. And then you have to also get rid of minimum wage, all that stuff, because now everybody's competing against one another in the workplace. And if you have people that aren't legally allowed to work, or they're not legally allowed to be here, but they want to work and you want them to work, but you want to pay them, everybody's competing on different levels now. Nothing makes any sense. You either have borders or you don't. The sanctuary city things, it doesn't make any sense. and it draws people in. They get free health care. They're just as guilty as Biden in this situation. If anything, they're more guilty. They created this whole mess in the get-go. Go Cheese. I feel like I might set my alarm off at 5 a.m. and work out tomorrow because I can't handle all this stress. You're stressing yourself out. All right. This whole thing feels like a psyop to me too. This whole thing, the January 6th stuff. I think a lot of people that are probably watching the show would agree that January 6th sure feels like a setup. Sure gave the Democrats everything they wanted. Not even the Democrats, the Union Party. I don't even like just saying the Democrats because there's plenty of never Trumper, Rhino Con people that were happy about all the January 6th stuff too. But it went perfectly for them. Look what it gave them precedent to do. This whole Texas thing feels like the same thing, riling everyone up to be like, I stand with Texas, and go there to like hope something pops off. I don't know. This is just me totally getting tinfoil and totally just speculating, but that's what this whole thing feels like to me. This whole thing feels like a setup to draw people to Texas to do something stupid. But that's just me getting tinfoily. All right, let's keep going. All right, I think I played that whole video. All right. Okay, so this is Biden's response to Greg Abbott.
So as it stands right now, you might be able to make out behind me, Texas's razor wire is still here inside of Shelby Park. It remains untouched. However, the Biden administration has now warned Texas it has until tomorrow to allow Biden's border agents back into Shelby Park and the ability to remove Texas's razor wire as it sees fit. A federal attorney writes to Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton that the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Biden administration, ending a temporary restraining order that prohibited Biden's border agents from touching Texas razor wire in and around Shelby Park. The Biden administration goes into detail about the access it wants. It wants access to Shelby Park, also the nearby boat launch and the international bridge. Well, as it stands right now, you might.
It does. How over the top the Biden regime is being with it about this whole thing is why I'm so suspect. Is like you're so clearly over the top, making it apparent to everybody that you're intentionally leaving the border open. It's like you're trying to broadcast, we are doing this as a federal government. We are intentionally flooding our country with people. It's like you're trying to broadcast. You're being so flagrant about it. We want access to the boat launch. We want access to the international bridge. And it's and they want to send more. Remember, they want to send more border patrol agents there to help processing. This isn't to help keep people from coming here, to help process the people, give them stuff, and then send them throughout the country. It's so in your face. It's so over the top. It seems to me like they're just trying to make everyone angry. And it's working. I mean, I'm angry. I'm all stand with Texas and stuff, but it feels very psyop-y. I don't know. I'm probably just being crazy, but yeah, this just feels very psyop-y to me, you guys. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. Let's see. Let me check the chat. The 1800, when it comes to American citizens protecting themselves, all of a sudden Biden is a tough guy. Tinfoil Mountain Goat. You feel like it's not an internal operation. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm wrong all the time. So it feels like it's so over the top that they're trying to make everyone mad, but I could be tripping. I could be wrong. All right, this video's, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of going viral. This just annoyed me because it sort of illustrates why like the old guard Republicans suck, why they always lose. and they just don't get it. They don't get how to, first of all, just make a quick point. Just get to your point quickly. They always seem to get caught off guard by like obvious questions. You know where these shit leftist journalists are gonna take the conversation. They're gonna try to pigeonhole you into something, and they always get caught off guard. So I just sort of want to play this video for you guys really quick. And this chick is so annoying. I can't stand this broad. I don't know who she is, but she's very annoying. So I apologize.
I've never spoken before in an interview about a text message that you sent to Mark Meadows. It was 3 days before President Biden was inaugurated, and you were urging the White House to use the U.S. military to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. Do you regret sending that message?
The only thing I regret, I misspelled martial law, and it's still questions that linger today.
So that's what all the leftists are jumping on right now, that he said, I misspelled martial law. He was trying to be edgy there, and he just wasn't. He just came across as cringy, but he listened to his response to her question. He gets caught off guard, and he just sucks at responding.
And we
Sir,
have got
what questions are there that
right.
linger today? Because this is really important. We are approaching another election, and when you talk to Republican voters, in CNN exit polls, half of them don't believe that Joe Biden legitimately won the election, which he did. And calling for martial law because you have questions about the election, I think most people would agree is subverting the will of voters that you often talk about that are so important.
No, the will of the voters was subverted when intelligence agencies colluded with big tech to suppress vital information to the American voter. That's when the will of the voter was subverted. And yes, Joe Biden is an illegitimate president. See, was that so hard? Let's see if he gets caught off guard.
No, look, to keep this system honest, photo voter ID, which the
He already lost. He's right, but he already lost.
Democrats tried to circumvent. They've been trying to circumvent that.
Everybody always goes back to the ballots and all that stuff. They never go to the most obvious thing that they got caught doing. Straight up caught doing. Swaying public opinion using intelligence agencies to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop. That's the primary way the election was stolen right there. That by itself. And it seems to be like the third point people always get to, and it bugs me.
What they're doing with the illegal aliens, with the vote, get them registered to vote, is not right. That's what I'm talking about.
What does that have to do
making
with
sure
that's you calling for martial law,
Kaylin,
Congressman?
See, so he's just back on his heels. He's he looks bad here. It's just he doesn't do well here. And that's freaking journalist. Yeah. And now like leftard Twitter is sort of using that to say that he was called for martial law. So yeah, just it's annoying. So why do you have to suck so bad? It's frustrating. All right, let's keep going here. So I found that this is pretty interesting. So all of those sanctuary cities that I was talking about, somebody sent me this earlier. I thought that was pretty interesting. So this is a map of all the sanctuary cities. You guys notice anything? If it pops up here. So look at all these sanctuary cities. Where all the pin drops are. All Democrat strongholds. So weird. So weird. It's almost like the illegal immigrants in these sanctuary cities are voting, but that couldn't be. That couldn't be, right, guys? Yeah, so very interesting. But I'm sure that's not the case. Okay. But I guess it is sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because Democrat policies are going to create sanctuary cities, and then illegal immigrants are going to be drawn to those sanctuary cities, which are going to further enhance the voter base, in theory, of those sanctuary cities for the Democratic Party. So yeah, it's sort of a vicious cycle, isn't it? I have no chance, do I, guys? Well, I'm going to keep fighting anyway. All right, let's see what Donald Trump had to say about this. Check with the chat here really quick. Casey Martin, now the video of the feds tearing down the razor wire will be used in devastating campaign videos. Casey Martin, this is what Vivek is good at. Rejecting the MSM's narrative, building yes, absolutely. Vivek would have crushed her if he got asked that question and said that guy got all back on his heels. Yeah, online in one. I live in one. Let's see. B says, "Oh, her expressions are so." Yeah, she is super annoying. Like, can you curl your? Yeah, she's annoying as hell. All right, let's see what Trump had to say about this whole thing. This was pretty spicy, and this is another reason why I think this. Well, not think it's a psyop, but it's going to play into their hands perfectly. It's going to play into the uniparty plans perfectly. I mean, I don't know. I don't think the military industrial complex would be upset if there was a civil war. They still win, right? Just saying. All right. President Donald J. Trump says, when I was president, we had the most secure border in history. Joe Biden has surrendered our border and is aiding and abetting a massive invasion of millions of illegal migrants into the United States. Instead of fighting to protect our country from the onslaught, Biden is unbelievably fighting to tie the hands of Governor Abbott and the state of Texas. So the invasion continues unchecked. In the face of this national security, public safety, and public health catastrophe, Texas has rightly invoked the invasion clause of the Constitution and must be given full support to repel the invasion. Okay, this is where it gets spicy, if you ask me. You can do it. There we go. Oh, what the heck is going on? Jeez. Okay. We encourage all willing states to deploy their guards to Texas to prevent the entry of illegals and remove them back across the border. So, you guys, they tried to say he incited an insurrection for saying peacefully and patriotically march to the Capitol. They tried to say he incited an insurrection for this. Listen to these words he just said. We encourage all willing states to deploy their guards to Texas to prevent entry of illegals. Trump just said he encourages states to deploy their military to Texas. I mean, if we're looking at this like how they're going to try to spin this legally, I mean, okay. All Americans should support the common sense measure. All Americans should support the common sense measures by Texas authorities to protect the safety, security, and sovereignty of Texas and of the American people. When I am president, on day one, instead of fighting Texas, I will work hand in hand with Governor Abbott and the border states to stop the invasion, seal the border, and rapidly begin the largest domestic deportation operation in history. Those Biden has let in should not get comfort because they will be going home. All right. So every time somebody says like mass deportation effort, I have to make sure that I preface by saying I do not support federal agents, local cops, whoever, just randomly asking people to show their papers because they're brown and they don't look like they're supposed to be here. I do not support that. If you have a list of all your illegal immigrants and their hypothetical location because you process them at the border, you got a tracking device because you gave them a phone, okay, fine. Like, you know where to go round them up. You know who they are. You got a description, all that stuff. Fine. But I don't want to see people randomly stopped on the streets being asked for their papers. That's the only issue I will have with this mass deportation campaign that everybody's talking about. Other than that, go get them. I'm good with it. But I do not want to see show me your papers. That's it. That's the only thing. Other than that, you break the law, you get busted jaywalking and they ask you for your ID and they find out you're an illegal immigrant, that's a wrap. We are so far past this failed experiment of open borders and sanctuary cities. California is still trying to double down in the other direction. They're still talking about, well, you just saw they just made DACA kids be able to be cops. You no longer need to be a United States citizen to be a cop in California. San Francisco and deployed that policy. Health insurance. You get health insurance if you're an illegal immigrant. You can get a social security number. I'm pretty sure you can get a driver's license. All this stuff. Like, you don't need to be a citizen to come to California. You can get everything you need and just live a normal life. It ain't right. A path to citizenship, making it more accessible, but people that get citizenship, they have to take American history. They learn a ton of stuff. By the time you get your citizenship, you're like a patriotic American. People that could just come here, mooch off the system, and that is what is happening. A lot of mooching off the system. I mean, look at New York right now. I don't want to be cruel about this stuff, but it's putting regular Americans in a very difficult position. There are people, this does feel like a job replacement thing as well. You know, as many of you know, I've been trying to get work. I've been trying to get work since February. I applied at this place called Davy Tree Company. I know a ton about trees. I love trees. I'm really athletic. I know how to use chainsaws and stuff. I'm sort of a dork when it comes to trees. I can tell you every tree in almost every plant that grows in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I can tell you different funguses they get, different diseases they get. I'm just really into trees. I don't know why. I just am. I love redwoods. I love it up here. So thought that'd be a fun job, entry level job, like low paying job. It is a tree climbing arborist job, but it's entry level, no experience necessary. Like it says it on the application. Low paying job. You know, it's a completely different career for me. I applied like 8 months ago, 2 different locations, same job, got turned down. Applied again, got turned down again. But the first time I went to the interview, everything went great. And then time went by and they wouldn't respond to my emails. Then I got turned down. Applied again when other things opened up, got turned down like almost immediately. I applied for 3 different locations, same entry-level job, 3 different locations today. All 3 of them came back. We went with somebody else like immediately. Just no interview, no call, no nothing. Just then I meet people. I see the Davy guys all over the place. I'm in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I stop and I talk to them. And I'm like, hey, you guys hiring this and that. And I'm talking directly to the guys that are doing the job that I applied for. A lot of times they don't speak English. And it really is starting to feel like, holy crap, this company that I'm trying to get in with, are they like, you know, when you know somebody at a company, it's easier to get in. It's almost like this company has created this monopoly of they only hire people that aren't from here. And yeah, like they aren't going to give me the time of day. And it sucks because I'm 6'6", I'm super athletic, run ultra marathons. I know a ton about trees. I could do that job well. I could do that job very well. It doesn't pay. And it sounded like a good job too, because I don't have to like interact with people anymore. I could just go, well, not like clients and stuff like that. And yeah, just there's a lot of people right now that are struggling trying to find work. At the same time, there's people like, I can't find any work. It's like something's wrong. And I think a lot of it is we've created this like quasi, you can kind of work here legally, but you kind of can't situation. And now there's tons of people here that can kind of work legally, but they kind of can't. Like, and I'm curious about the unions. Can you join the IBEW if you're an illegal immigrant? Can you do that? Like, I don't know. It's the skilled trades seem like they have. I'm all for people from Mexico coming here, from wherever, coming here legally, getting employment, like doing it all the legit way. But if you like sneak in here, you get given a bunch of stuff as you get here, a phone, a card, a credit card, lodging, you're given food, all this stuff. and then you go stay with other people that were given all these things, and you just work the system and sort of like shoehorn your way into a skilled trade, and all of a sudden you're in the union. It's like it doesn't seem right to me, but what do I know? I'm just a dumb tradesman running for office. We'll see. All right, sorry, that was me ranting for a little bit too long here. Yeah, okay, that was from Donald Trump. Okay, let's check in at the California border, shall we? So somebody sent me this. This is right over at La Jolla Beach.
I wasn't sure what was going on.
Lifeguards aren't gonna do shit.
Where are they running
Illegal
to?
aliens.
So it's all men, you know, as they say, fighting age men. Where are they going to? They're just running up the street. Seems like they know where they're going. A lot of them.
Man, they're up. Dude, they got kids with them too.
I didn't know. Oh my God, there's a child.
Holy shit. This lady's just collapsing. Jesus.
Madness. And so meanwhile at the border, and then you're sending border patrol agents to go process. Well, that's leaving all these like checkpoints that they have. It's leaving all of those, well, not all of them, but a bunch of them unsupervised. And then drug smugglers aren't going to come to Eagle Pass and get processed. So all those border patrol agents that were like going up and down the fence trying to bust drug smugglers, all of those resources are now redirected to just processing people coming over the border. Our country is just getting flooded with all sorts of stuff, all sorts of whatever comes over the border through tunnels, all their different ways that they do it, where they don't want border patrol to see them because they're doing like much more nefarious stuff than just coming here. Well, that problem's gotten much worse as well. So I'm curious what we're witnessing here. What is this? Like where did they go? You cruise up onto the beach? Like what is your plan after that? I'm very curious where all these people went.
Oh my god. Let's go check out the boat. So wild. What the fuck? Yeah. Yeah, that's what they do all the time. I've seen the boat here like 5 times, but I've never actually.
Man, I guess that's a good way to get a free boat, huh? It's got 2 engines. Look at that thing. It's like a decent boat. Who needs a boat? Okay, so that's happening. All right. I guess that's enough talk about the border. We'll use that as our segue into California here. Let's see. Goat cheese, you live in San Diego. I've never even been to San Diego. Sure looks nice down there. Why do you hate it there? It's freaking beautiful in San Diego. Yep, that's an invasion. QC Martin. V1800, just go to the Border Patrol. They guide you in now. Yep, exactly. Oh, you're being serious, aren't you? That's crazy. The United States and the Red Cross are helping illegals come to the U.S. Yep. Mike DeWitt, thanks for hanging out, man. Old Jafar looking back. You're talking about that chick. That's funny. Waterworld, it's D-Day. They're invading the beaches. Yeah, I don't know if I'd compare that to Normandy, but I get the I get the sentiment. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, you guys. All right. Let's talk about some California stuff, shall we? Just unreal, man. Everything's so crazy. Just like every different topic. I mean, every different thing. Yeah, like Canada right now. It's like just Canada. Like it was the first thing that popped into my brain, but there's like two different things out of Canada. They're just insane right now. Like their Supreme Court or whatever it is for them up there ruled that, yeah, you know, freezing those truckers' bank accounts and all the horrible thing that you did to those truckers, that wasn't right. You guys shouldn't have done that. Well, crazy ass Chrystia Freeland up there decides, no, we should have. And we're gonna challenge that ruling. There's that. And then there's the whole assisted suicide thing that's going on up there. That's just freaking boggling my mind. That it's like you don't even need to be sick up there. They're like encouraging assisted suicide because, you know, things aren't going so well. It's just insane. Canada's freaking nuts. All right. I stumbled across this. This is just like a random I'll stick it in my little California segment here, but it's just a random story that it doesn't fit anywhere, but I have to talk about it. I just have to. It's so weird. I have to talk about this story. It's so weird. Radio executive, cheers. Nice to see you. V1800, it's getting so bad. It's hard to believe. It will get much worse. Unfortunately, I think you're right. But worse how? It'll get better in certain ways as well. Like things are very exciting right now. Don't be so black-pilled, everyone. We live in a very, very exciting time right now. Don't be black-pilled. Plus, I'm going to show you something really funny right now. Funny and slightly disturbing. So there's a story out of it's like Modesto area out in California, and it's along the Tuolumne River. I think that's how you pronounce it. I actually grew up in a cabin that was right on the Tuolumne River up near Genis Park up near Twain Hart. Yeah, anyway. All right. So more tunnels, guys. No, it's not those tunnels. It's some different tunnels that they built. Let's check this out.
I've covered a lot of homeless stories in the past, but I've never seen such elaborate infrastructure for encampments. It starts with these makeshift steps that lead about 20 feet down below to where these caves are hidden. You can't even see them from up above, and that's likely why they went undetected for so long. Hidden homeless caves tucked along the Tuolumne River in Modesto.
These are basically stairs that they made to get down to the dwelling.
Tracy Rojas took us on the treacherous walk to see the craters created near.
I almost admire these guys because you go in and, I mean, if you're a dude and you stumble across these caves, you're kind of going to be stoked because it's just cool. Dudes like caves.
Crater Avenue.
And if one of these were to collapse, it would be devastating. This whole side would come down and into the water.
Look what they built. They got archways and everything. Like these dudes. Oh, this was some tweaker shit. Look at this. Like how much meth was required to build this? Look at this.
7,600 pounds of trash. That's how much was cleared out by volunteer groups and police over the weekend.
So this was fully furnished?
Yes, there was bedding, there was little things up on the mantle, lack of a better word, mantle, food items, drugs, guns.
We had a hard time figuring out how they got so much stuff down in there, considering how hard it was. It's always harder to get it up the hill and get it out.
Chris Guptill was one of these volunteers who says they found 8 caves in total, but it wasn't the group's first time down here.
And we really don't have a known solution to deal with it.
In November 2022, CBS 13 took a tour of the cleared out caves, nowhere near as elaborate as they are now.
You can see the hooks on the wall where they had bottles and things like that hanging down.
Painted pictures and even a makeshift fireplace. This was someone's home.
What do you think needs to be done to stop this from happening?
Well, I think we need more emphasis on the homeless. I mean, they're at the point where you can see, Tori, that they're desperate.
We asked Modesto police and the city what's being.
All right, this ain't like all they need is housing. That sounded like what she was getting at right there. So we need to have more empathy and compassion. No, these are tweakers. These are tweakers, lady. Do you not know tweakers? They made like cubbies in the walls. They started putting ceramic, like terracotta tile down. You guys, this is right next to the river. This is, I mean, you get a heavy rain, this whole thing is going to get flooded. This is Tweakerville. This isn't all they need is housing, lady. Get your liberal bleeding heart out of here. The crap drives me insane.
Done to prevent people from coming back to cave camp. The response, they will continue to monitor the area.
I'm sorry, was that blood on the walls? Hold on. We got to go back. You guys see that? What is this? What is this? You guys? Okay, when it pans over, this is blood.
Back to cave camp.
That looks like blood on the walls. That looks like blood splatter to me, but okay, let's keep going.
The response, they will continue to monitor the area and connect the homeless to services.
It was already been proven that people are willing to dig those things out, so I don't think filling them back in with any material would work.
The caves cleared for now, but the neighborhood near the river feeling no real sense of peace in this problem.
It's a hazard for not only the homeless who live in there, but the people who are walking up here.
Erosion, rising waters washing the belongings into the river, and contamination are all concerns. Rojas says that park rangers are planning on putting up cameras around this area and also signage, making it an official park. That way that they can have more enforcement.
Okay. I just wanted to show you guys that random story because it was just so fascinating to me. Tweakers building tunnels. Yeah. I don't know. I thought you guys would find that as fascinating as I found it. Because I did find it fascinating. Let's see. B Sizzo. I knew somebody was going to make that joke. I think we were all thinking it. Man cave, Greek architecture. Needle holders, is that what those were? It's freaking gross. Yeah, freaking what the hell is wrong with people? I mean, you sort of got to hand it to them. They were living comfortably in there. They had a place to go. They had a place to stay dry. Okay, well, B1800, I'd rather have a tent. I'm not looking to live in a cave. I think I would rather have a cave. Like, yeah, I think I would rather live in the cave than the tent. Got a fireplace, dude. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Tents start to stink after. I mean, imagine a cave would probably start to stink after a while too. Casey Martin, what could be done? Stop voting for Dems and leftists. Yeah, there you go. B Sizzo, hard wall is much safer. Yeah, that was just like clay. That was bad. Yeah, it was a Hobbit crack dead. Yeah, I know. All right. Yeah, well. Can't really. I don't know. I don't know if I blame them so much. Just they're tweakers. What are you gonna do? Yeah. First step: stop allowing drug dealers to operate with impunity. That's probably the first step. All right. I want to go over to this right quick. This I came across. This is all California stuff that I'm gonna be talking about now, folks. Came across this one from Human David Hemedi. I believe I'm pronouncing his name right, and I'm going to pronounce it that way until he corrects me. and I'm not pronouncing it wrong. So, as many of you guys know, we're having a huge budget shortfall in California. So Gavin Newsom has to figure out how he's going to make up for the money. So David here writes, remember just a couple months ago when Governor Gavin Newsom made national headlines when he announced a 700, I think he meant to say $700 million acquisition of a mall to become UCLA's biotech center. Well, so they bought a mall probably to save the building. Well, let's just read it in its entirety. $700 million acquisition of a mall to become UCLA's biotech center. Well, I just learned that 3 days later, he pulled $300 million, leaving UCLA with the bill. So they got to come up with $400 million. Like everything else Newsom does, this was all a very expensive publicity stunt. Once he got his press conference and the photo op, he told UCLA to go to hell. Now, after he bought it, UCLA now has to come up with $300 million to pay the rest of the balance. I think it's 400, isn't it? Anyway, there's a term for this. It's called fraud. Does Newsom also do this at the French Laundry, invite people to an expensive dinner and then race home just before the $20,000 check arrives, forcing his guests to pay for it, their expensive meal? That's basically what he just did there. That is. Yeah. So he brokered this deal to buy this building like on behalf of UCLA to make it their biotech center. And he closes the deal for $700 million. And he's like, well, we're going to pull $300 million from it. And you guys have to pay the rest. Or you guys have to pay $300 million. Okay, so never mind. He was right. So they have to come up with $300 million. We're going to pull that back. He just did that. Here, UCLA. It's like UCLA probably didn't even want to buy the building in the first place. It probably wasn't their idea. This is, hilarious. Okay. Well, I thought you guys would find that interesting. I got another story like that after this too. Okay. Let's keep going. So also, same story from David. So I don't think people understand how impossible it is to be a homeowner in California and just deal with if you want to do even the slightest change to your home, obviously property taxes, just owning a home in California. It's like, do you even really own your own home? So this is a story David wanted to put all of that in perspective. So he says, hypocrite California leaders like Governor Newsom and many city council members claim that they have a housing crisis, so we should make housing affordable and permits easy. But then I applied for a permit in Santa Monica to add a 249 square foot laundry room to my house. Legal. Did everything right, paid a huge architectural fee, structural engineer. Then I was forced to pay Title 24 money, energy/climate impact report for adding one small window. Fine. So I submitted it and received the bill for them to review the permit, $4,800 for a tiny addition, $463 for urban forest impact, $3,439 in these permit review fees alone for 249 square feet, nearly $1,000 for two reviews of my Title 24 report for adding one window. Now read the fine print. They say they'll charge even more undisclosed fees for inspections and other things once they inevitably modify plans, more review fees on top of this. And I understand it takes many months to get a permit here, even for something so small as this. Now imagine how much you have to pay up to Santa Monica City, a city that's earned its nickname of Soviet Monica or the People's Republic of Santa Monica, if you dare to try and renovate your kitchen or something. Now that's now illegal in Beverly Hills until they build thousands of affordable apartments to add a second story, or heaven forbid, build a new house or apartment building. Can you imagine what they'll charge and how long they'll delay the construction? They'll delay that construction. Well, I know a neighbor has his renovations delayed by 4 years. Couldn't move into the house he just bought with everything he had. My friend's new restaurant in Santa Monica took nearly a year to get permitted while he had to pay rent on the space. How on earth can city council members, a bunch of people, claim to support affordable housing when they make it prohibitively expanding the time consuming to get a simple building permit? What happened to all the other taxes we pay? And how are the permit reviewers making six-figure salaries while not doing their job? This isn't limited to Santa Monica. Most cities in this state are committing municipal extortion against their residents, charging inappropriate high fees for everything from construction permits to concealed weapon permits. Around $1,000 in Santa Monica now to prevent people from affording them. They're doing that in San Jose too. I think it's $1,500. Like you have to get insurance to have. If you get your CCW in San Jose, they make you have insurance now. I'm sure that'll get shot down anyway. They charge you $1,000 to have your name on the city council ballot. That's okay. Yep, that's true. Yeah, like my filing fee to get on the ballot for California State Senate, just to get on the ballot for me is $1,200. You know, you guys are awesome and you helped me raise that. Forgetting who they supported to serve, totally forgetting that they are responsible for the high housing prices and lack of sufficient housing. At the end of my call, the permit specialist today to demand for a reduction of fees, he said, yeah, it's what a lot of people don't get permits around here. Something I don't condone. Something needs to change. So he's got a screenshot here. Yeah, it's just insane amount of fees. His total just in fees. So this isn't any building. This is just what the city is charging him. He wanted to add a 250 square foot laundry room. Okay. So to get permission from the city to do that, $4,800. Just for the city to say, okay, you can do it. And however much time and back and forth he had to spend with them. This is his house. He should just be able to take a hammer and go knock out a wall and do whatever. Oh, very, very, very frustrating. Sorry, folks. Oh, I wasn't even sharing that with you. That's okay. I read it. At least it wasn't a video. Okay. So we'll go to this one really. Actually, let me check with the chat here. Talk about some Nancy Pelosi stuff. Let's see. John Whalen. I don't know how y'all doing, man. Oh, nice to see you, brother. Casey Martin, if I build a home addition out of pallets and tarps and let a homeless guy live in it, yeah, you could. That's the funny thing. You could go under an overpass, stack a bunch of pallets, get tarps and stuff, and behave in the most horrible ways, and nobody will mess with you in California. You can do all that, no problem. Try to put a tough shed in your backyard that you build yourself, and you know your neighbors are going to call the cops on you, and you're going to get arrested and put in Guantanamo Bay. Obviously not really. Okay, so Nancy Pelosi. I came across this. I want to share it with you guys because it was extra frustrating for me. So this is from Unusual Whales, and they say, okay, this is absolutely bonkers. Nancy Pelosi's NVIDIA option calls have made her $700,000 in under 2 months, more than triple her annual salary of $223,500. This is after NVIDIA launched a deal with the U.S. government, making Pelosi's NVIDIA ITM calls now up 30%. Just straight up insider trading, straight up in your face, like not trying to hide it at all. Just right in your face. And this bothers me extra because the house that I was working on when I got fired, the house that was in construction that nobody was living at, a lot of people try to say, the house that I was working on when I got fired for refusing to wear a mask is right down the street from Nancy Pelosi's neighborhood. And these are the people that talk about climate change all the time, right? Nancy Pelosi herself has at least 2 vehicles sitting, usually 3. And these tech executives have usually 4 or 5 vehicles sitting outside of their house 24/7, idling. They're running. The cars are running the entire time. They're not electrical vehicles. That's just when they're home, sitting out there idling, protecting them. That's not including, when they fly everywhere. Just they have the hugest carbon footprint. They don't care about. Anyway, I got fired of my job. I've never made $100,000 in my life. They took my career from me because I refused to wear a mask, and then I had the audacity to go on Tucker Carlson and talk about it. Now, well, I already talked about it. No one will touch me. No one will hire me. Absolutely nobody. I got turned down by a grocery store. It's insane. It's truly insane. And never made $100,000 in my life. I look at this, Nancy Pelosi, $700,000 in 2 months, and she's right down the street from where I got fired from my measly job. It's just frustrating, you guys. It is very frustrating. It's very like French Revolution vibes, Russian Revolution vibes. Just the elite just get wealthier and wealthier and wealthier, and we get poorer and poorer, and we just have to eat the cake, like she says, right? Like we just have to take the bite of the shit sandwich. It's just, we have no recourse. It's our purchasing power goes down. Everything gets more expensive. It's, and meanwhile, they get paid more and more and more because they have inside information. It's frustrating. All right, let's keep going with San Francisco. So this is from, I can't open this article from my computer, but I read it on my phone earlier. So yeah, so in San Francisco, it says, I'm sorry, this is in Oakland, but it's from the San Francisco Chronicle. It says reports of violent incidents in Oakland rose 21% last year compared to 2022, while robberies climbed 38% and burglaries ticked up 23%. For the second consecutive year, the city logged 120 homicides. Feelings of desperation have reached a fever pitch. Now, Gavin Newsom and London Breed, the mayor of Oakland, Tao, whatever her name is, they will get on TV and they will tell you straight up the crime's going down, the crime's getting better. They will straight up say these things to you, and then they will pull out. Then they'll even say, based on some numbers, they'll even pull out numbers and say these statistics, and they'll tell you straight to your face that crime's going down. And it kind of goes back to like the super rich and then the have nothings. It's like the have nothings are like, hey, it's super dangerous out here. We're getting robbed in broad daylight. And they're like, no, you're not. It's actually getting safer. It's like, what do you do at that point? Just what do you do? They're pissing on your head and telling you it's raining. And it's quite obviously piss. They're pissing on us. They're pissing on us, guys. And so why this is like evidence of that. This is how it's, look at this is broad daylight. It's Oakland, California. This is from actually this might have been all the way back in 2020, but I'm not sure when this is from. But this broad daylight, just woman standing on the sidewalk. Just look at this. I'm going to let this play again because I want to pause it at a certain part to show you guys something. Okay. Back it up a tiny bit. So first thing I'll say is this woman is not allowed to carry a firearm. Okay. Now, there, perfect. Do you guys look at his pistol? Do you guys notice anything? You see how his magazine's coming all the way down to here? Well, obviously, it's already illegal to rob somebody at gunpoint, right? Well, this magazine is illegal to have. Well, he's obviously not following that law either, right? But we can't go purchase those from the store. But he knows where to buy them illegally. His friends have them. He knows where to get them. Now, if this guy goes, so even if he goes up to somebody that's carrying, that's ready for this situation, that person's outgunned. He has, it looks like a 20 round, 30 round mag. I don't know how many rounds it's holding, but he's got double the amount of bullets that this person that's getting caught off guard has. We're already at a disadvantage. All these gun laws do is put citizens at disadvantages. And Oakland is the prime example of cops cannot protect citizens whatsoever at all. In this situation, this woman was probably screwed anyway, because if she was carrying, she might have saw this car slowing down. She might have drawn her weapon before he even opened the car door, and they might have just drove away. And then you wouldn't have saw that in the crime statistics. You wouldn't have saw gun stops armed robbery. That wouldn't have shown up in the crime statistics. All that would have shown up is one less armed robbery. People are armed, crime's going to go down. You're going to see crime go down. Yeah, you're going to see shootouts. It'll probably get worse before it gets better. But the only way California is going to solve this problem, this particular crime problem that's only getting worse, the cop situation is not getting any better. Departments are struggling to find cops all over the place, all over California. Cops are demoralized. Departments can't get cops. They don't have enough of a budget. They're outgunned. Cops cannot protect citizens. This problem's going to get worse, and it's already insanely bad. The only way this problem gets resolved is with armed citizens, regular armed citizens, good people that choose to purchase a firearm and train with it and learn how to use it. And if they get robbed, decide to pull out their firearm and end the threat. That's how all this stuff stops. The cops aren't going to stop this. The politicians are not going to stop this. It's only going to get worse. California must become a concealed carry state, constitutional carry state. Anyone who wants to carry a firearm can carry a firearm. California must become a constitutional carry state in order for this crime situation to get resolved. It's not going to get resolved otherwise. It's only going to get worse. This will be proven true. All right, we'll keep going. I already talked about the Pelosi thing. Yeah, so you got just stuff like this happening in the Bay. This is out of San Francisco. Some Darren Stahl Cup. Look at this. Look at this. Literal zombie.
Don't watch that.
Like, this is a normal occurrence. So this is from Darren Stahl Cup, World Peace Movement, over on Twitter here. This is just, he just goes out and gets this footage every day. All he has to do is walk out his door and he gets this. This isn't like, this would have been like a viral clip 10, 15 years ago. Like, look, this crazy person in San Francisco. No, this is like, you walk around any corner in the Tenderloin, all over the place in San Francisco. You're going to see crazy stuff like this. It's insane. All right. So this came out in the news a couple of days ago. This will be the last thing I talk about tonight. I've already gone a little bit over. I only wanted to go an hour tonight. Let me check with the chat really quick. Northside, he got a Glock 23 with a pull. How do you know that was a Glock 23? I have a Glock 23. I actually prefer, I have a Smith & Wesson SDVE 9, which is basically a Glock 19 with a really spongy trigger. I used to hate it. I freaking love that pistol now. I prefer that over my Glock 23. Yeah, I bought a 40 cal because I just thought it would be cool. And yeah, it's a great gun. Don't get me wrong. I like it, but I prefer the SD. Anyway, women should not be in Oakland unstrapped and unaware, honestly. Yeah, I agree. Dudes, if you're standing out on a street corner in Oakland and you're a dude, you shouldn't be standing there unaware. Go Cheese Millennial, they're locusts. Who? If I build my home edition out of you're probably talking about the freaking people charging everybody exorbitant fees because they want to build something. John, what is she like, Leon? Probably fentanyl. I don't know. Who knows? Man, you guys remember those viral videos that were going around back in like 2015, 2016? What was the drug they were calling it? Where it was showing like zombies. Was it fentanyl? Were they calling it fentanyl? Remember, it was showing people like running full speed into cars with their heads and stuff. What happened to all those videos? That was, yeah, what was all that about? You guys remember those? Those were going super crazy for a while. No, not spice. It was something else. Yeah, that's gonna bug me. Wasn't it like a weight loss drug? Yeah, something like bath salts. What was it? Was it fen-phen? Was it fen-phen? Something like that. I thought it might have been like the precursor to fentanyl, but you guys remember all those videos, right? It was always like people in parking structures for some reason. It was like people running full speed into stuff. Tide Pods. That's funny. Was it bath salts? It's not, isn't it? It's not bath salts, right? It's basalts, like BASSALTS, not bath salts. I don't know. Eating other people's feces. That's gross. That is gross. I learned yesterday. Who told me this? Somebody told me yesterday that people on fentanyl save their pee so they can drink it because it gets them high again. I learned that yesterday. I don't know if that's true, but that's what somebody told me. I can't remember where. Kratom? No, it's not kratom. Kratom. That's just crazy. Crocodile? Is that a thing? Is that eating other people? Yeah. They're eating other people's faces off and shit. Remember? I feel like that was a psyop. I feel like that whole thing was a psyop. I don't know. I could be tripping. All right, let's go back to this last thing I want to talk about. So this was all right. I was a huge Warriors fan for a very long time. Just grew up in the Bay Area. My dad was all-American basketball player in high school, and I didn't even play in high school, but I played like junior high and stuff. I love basketball. I love watching basketball. I love the Warriors. Just grew up watching Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway, the first dream team. Just love the Warriors. And speaking of the first dream team, Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr was on the first dream team, and he was one of my favorite players. He was on that iconic Bulls championship squad. Steve Kerr, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman. Yeah, all those guys. Anyway, Steve Kerr was always been a huge fan of him. I met him once. I used to be the project manager over at Magnolia inside the Best Buy in Emeryville, California. And I met him once over there. Met the guys from Green Day over there. A bunch of people that ended up being horrible leftists later on down the road. This was back when I was way before I was even into politics. It was back like 2015. Like right when I first started getting into, like I was down the conspiracies rabbit holes, but I wasn't into politics. I couldn't even have told you if I was a conservative or a liberal at the time. It was like I was just getting it, 2015 time. And so when I met Steve Kerr and stuff. And yeah, I was a huge fan. Huge fan of the Warriors. Watch every game. Really into it. And then COVID. And just how horrible people started behaving during COVID, particularly Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr just became a horrible leftist during COVID. Like so many people that just became cruel, that decided that the unvaccinated are the enemy, that this whole pandemic is happening because of the unvaccinated and people that won't wear masks. Yeah, he was one of those guys. And one of the holdouts for the vaccine, what was his name? Was it Wiggins? Who was it on the Warriors? Let me go to the chat. I know one of you guys knows in the chat. Who is the holdout from the Warriors that didn't get the vaccine for the longest time? And then he ended up getting it. And now he's still upset about it. There's only one guy in the NBA that held out. What's his face? LeBron's former partner. What's his name? Blanking on his name right now. Anyway, you guys, come on. Some of you guys have got to be basketball fans in the chat. Well, anyway, he held out for a long time without getting the vaccine. He ended up getting it. But Well, this coach, Dejan Milojevic, died at age 46. The Golden State Warriors assistant coach and former professional basketball player Dejan Milojevic has passed away. He was just 46 years old. Milojevic suffered a heart attack during dinner at a Salt Lake City restaurant on Tuesday. And despite life-saving efforts, he tragically passed late Wednesday afternoon, the team revealed in a statement. So, you can't say 100% it was the vaccine, but just so many athletes, so many adult males. And this was like another reason why it was so difficult for me the whole time with the pressure on the vaccine. Like, I was never going to take the thing. You're going to have to strap me down or trick me into taking it. That was the only way I was going to take it. You're going to have to physically force it on me. And the main reason, I'm curious if I would have ended, I'm curious if like 2017 me or 2016 me would have taken the vaccine, because I was in such a different headspace. I quit drinking in 2017, started trail running shortly after that. And by the time COVID happened, I'd been without alcohol for, I think, like 2 years. I'd been trail running for 2 years. I was in the best physical shape of my life, 37 years old when it happened. So I'm just like, I'm at zero risk of COVID. Like, even when we thought that COVID might have been like a 1% mortality rate, which we like never really thought it was that high, but I never at any point was like, oh man, this could be really bad ever. But as soon as the vaccine came out, you started seeing stuff, and it was like, this seems to, like, the people that seem to be having the worst reactions to this seem to be like, the healthier and more active you are, the worse reaction you're having. And well, you're seeing a bunch of athletes. Whole point is, if I would have taken that vaccine and it would have made it so I can't run anymore, like, I can't wrap my brain around that. Not just run, if I can't do any athletics at all, because if I lost my legs or something like that, I would find a way. I would find a way to replace it. I would do something else. I'd become a rower. I don't know. I'd do something else. But if I got a heart injury that made it so I couldn't get my heart rate up, that's my whole thing. That's the endorphins thing. My go out and touch grass and get your endorphins up. That's the thing. Elevate your heart rate to up to a 135, 140, 145. Do that for 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. You're going to be in amazing shape after a few months. Just elevate your heart rate up to 135. Doesn't really matter how you do it. If you do that, heart rate 135 for 30 minutes, just straight through, you're going to be in great shape. And if all of a sudden, you got to keep your heart rate below like 125 for the rest of your life, that's a wrap. What's the point? No. So all of these lives that this freaking toxic experimental gene therapy nanolipid particle crap, all the damage it caused, Fauci should be in prison. Rochelle Walensky should be in prison. So many corporate press people should be in prison. The people that suppressed actual vaccine danger information online should be in prison. People censored medical doctors. Information that could have saved people's lives. People wouldn't have gotten the vaccine had they known certain things. Yeah, this guy right here. Is there a chance that this guy would have been alive if certain medical doctors wouldn't have been censored? There's a chance this gentleman would still be alive today because he's like, oh, you know what? I didn't know that about the vaccine. I'm not going to take it. I don't care if you're threatening my career. I learned this new piece of information that I was unaware of, and it's not worth risking my life. I'm not going to take it. Go ahead and take my career. People might have made those decisions. They were robbed of that decision-making process. Informed consent. They were robbed of informed consent all over the world. This was the biggest crime ever committed on humanity. So, and I haven't watched a Warriors game since. I haven't watched a Giants game. I haven't watched a Niners game. Sports are dead to me now. I could care less about sports. They just don't matter anymore. All the stuff that's going on in the world takes precedent over sports. But how people behaved in order to get others to comply within the sports world just turned me off to professional sports completely. And also how people just complied so they could play sports turned me off to athletes, because so many athletes just complied. There's a handful of athletes that didn't, a very small handful. And it's really disappointing how many people weren't willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, weren't willing to say, you know what? No, I'll sacrifice my career. Like, what's the tennis player? Novak or whatever his name is. Like, he was willing to sacrifice his career, and that's noble. And there's so many professional American athletes that weren't willing to do that. All right. I think that's all I'm going to get into tonight, folks. Let's sorry, I get sad when I talk about all the vaccine stuff. All right, let's see here. Yeah, Casey Martin, there were people calling for the unvaxxed to be shot with mRNA darts. I remember that. Yeah, people were freaking unbelievable. He probably did a bunch of coke during lockdown. Who's that? Steve Kerr? Steve Kerr seems like a cokehead. CDC, FDA, bunch of them need to be put on trial. Yep, for sure. Go, geez, I'm the jerk, though. Yeah. Let's see, Wally World, LeBron's son collapses as a freshman at UCLA. I saw that. Bron. Who names their kid Bron, by the way? It also sounds like Bon, like the snack, whatever. I thought high-level athletes would know better than to take it. Yeah, it's disappointing. There's I won't name any names, but and I doubt they watch the show, but maybe the first people I met to someone that had a big influence on me and was a big motivator for me, somebody that I really look up to as a runner. Many of you guys know I don't even call myself an ultra marathon runner anymore. I call myself just a trail runner now because I haven't done an ultra marathon in a while. But when I first started, it was because I listened to a David Goggins podcast. I listened to David Goggins on Joe Rogan, and I decided the next day I'm going to run 100 miles. I'm going to do a 100-mile race. And I'd never run a marathon. I'd never even done a half marathon at that point. And so I got shoes and I started running. And I haven't looked back since. I still haven't done 100 miles, but that's not the point. So I decided I went out to Quicksilver County Park in San Jose, Almaden, and I did my first 14 miles. And when I was finished, I went to Whole Foods, and I just learned what Western States was the day before. Like, just learned what it was. Western States is it's probably the most well-known ultra marathon 100-mile race in the United States. It's really well known. It's hard to get into. And I saw a couple. One of them was wearing a Western States hat, and I was like, "Holy crap!" Because I knew it's hard to get into, and so naturally I decided to talk to him because at Whole Foods, you go get your box of food. I know. I'm a Californian. I was eating at Whole Foods. What can I say? Got my box of food, and I sit down and saw them at the other end of the table. And so I go down, and I sit down there, and I was like, you're in Western States? And they kind of looked at me like, oh, like, because most people don't even know what Western States is. Started talking to them, and exchanged information, and we sort of became friends. And yeah, I liked them a lot. The wife is a legit ultra marathon runner. Like, I didn't realize it, like a ranked ultra marathon runner, like a high level ultra marathon runner. Like, people know this chick. She's a big deal. And her husband is like, he's not an ultra marathon runner, but he's like a track guy. And he's probably 50, but he's still doing like low 6-minute miles, like high 5-minute miles. He's lightning fast, and he's just shredded. like looks like he's carved out of oak. Dude's like just a complete stud. And they're just like, power couple. And I'm just, I run 14 miles and I think I'm king shit and I'm all excited and stuff. And it's the longest run of my life. And, I'm so far out of my league. And yeah, they ended up like sort of taking me under their wing. And I won't say his name. The dude just became my coach. He really did. He just started checking in on me, giving me advice, checking on my runs, checking on my stats, giving me training, like actual training to go out and do, like lots of advice, just really good people. And I mean, I haven't talked to him since, but I don't think Joe can run anymore. Oh shit, I said his name. Damn it. I didn't mean to. So, yeah, I don't think he can run anymore. I hope he can. He had some sort of heart issue that put him in the hospital. That was it wasn't myocarditis. It was like some sort of infarction or something like that. And I don't know what the vaccination status is, but it was like it was a major issue. And I hope he can run again. I hope he made a full recovery. But when you're a runner, last thing you want to be worrying about is your heart. Like just I already freak out thinking about my heart. My dad had a heart attack. My grandpa had a heart attack. My dad had a heart attack at 64, just, not too long ago. And yeah, so it's another reason why I'm insane with cardio. It's like, I want to keep my ticker good, but yeah, this vaccine, man, nobody had informed consent. Just, they want to move on from it. People just want to act like nothing happened. They just want to move on, pretend that they didn't behave incredibly horribly. All right. That is all I got tonight. Wally World, John Higgins, B. Sizzo, Mike DeWitt, Goat Cheese, Casey Martin, B1800, CC Pino. Nice to see all you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you guys could, please tap that like button. It's always helpful. Also, if you want to contribute to the show, you can click the link in my Twitter bio. There's a fundraiser that I set up there because yeah, things are insane in California right now. Things are just insane. So yeah, if you want to help the show, give that like button a tap, retweet, follow, all that good stuff. Goat Cheese, America first. Yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody. You guys are the best. You know how we do it. Before we get out of here, we got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Let's see what we got tonight. Okay. All right. You guys ready for the Chuck Norris joke of the evening? All right. Here we go. Chuck Norris, joke of the evening. What do we got? All right. The Greek pronunciation of Chuck Norris is Zeus. And on that note, stay CaliBased.